week 6 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I looked to sell and trade this week. The first guy, Anthony Santander of the Baltimore Orioles. So Santander, he's been off to a hot start, especially the last few weeks here. He's really taken off on the season. 5 home runs, 20 RBIs, 15 runs scored, a 266 batting average, and a 329 on base. But the last couple weeks here, 4 home runs, 13 RBIs, 9 runs scored, a 347 batting average, and a 382 on base. So Santander, I know last season hit 33 home runs, 240 batting average, but right now he's hitting a little bit over his head with the batting average. And the strikeouts are still pretty up there for Santander with 37 strikeouts in 124 at-bats on the season. So right now, he's showing the power. This Baltimore Orioles team playing great baseball this season here, and they're really taking it to some teams over the last few weeks. On the last few games here for Santander, May 4th at the Royals, 2 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs. May 5th at the Braves, 2 for 5, 2 homers, 5 RBIs. May 6th at Atlanta, 2 for 4, 2 runs in that one, an RBI. May 7th at Atlanta, again 2 for 4, rib. May 8th versus Tampa Bay, 1 for 3, and May 9th versus Tampa Bay, 1 for 4. So right now, hitting good is Santander on a 10-game hitting streak. He is for this Baltimore Orioles team, and he's just not going to stay this hot. The power is definitely legit that he has, even though he does have 5 home runs only this season, but the batting average and on base percentage a little bit up. So right now I think you could get a decent starting pitcher in a deal for Santander, and I'm not saying just dump him for anything, but right now he's playing above average to his career stats, and he's a hitter I would sell high this week. The next guy, Christian Walker of the Arizona Diamondbacks. So another player Walker is, just like Santander, similar, where he's a big power guy, but not really an average guy, even though this season so far he's batting .289 with 9 home runs, 28 RBIs, 20 runs scored, a 324 batting average, and a stolen base. And so far in the early going here for Walker, he's cutting down on the strikeouts, only 24 strikeouts in the early going in 128 at-bats, but over the last couple weeks he's ranked 3rd in fantasy baseball with 6 home runs, 14 RBIs, 11 runs scored, a 367 batting average, and a 392 on base. So right now, like I said, he's playing out of this world, this Christian Walker. You could either get a good starting pitcher or a deal, or even maybe a decent hitter and a starter. The last few games here for Walker: May 3rd at the Rangers, 2 for 4, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 3 runs scored. May 5th versus the Nats, 2 for 4. May 6th versus the Nats, 3 for 5, 2 runs. May 7th versus Washington, 1 for 5 with a homer. And May 8th versus Miami, 2 for 4 with a homer and 2 RBIs. So right now, 6 home runs in the last 2 weeks for Christian Walker. Batting average way up there. And he definitely made some off-season adjustments, cutting down on 2 strike counts and hitting the high batting average. But right now, I just don't see it happening for Christian Walker, where there's not that many threats in that Diamondback lineup where pitchers will start pitching around him or pitch him different. So right now, while Walker's red hot and ranked number 2 in the last few weeks in fantasy baseball, he's definitely a hitter to sell high this week. The next guy, Brent Rooker of the Oakland Athletics. So Rooker was on the list last week, and once again, he's going to remain on the list on the season. 10 home runs, 26 RBIs, 18 runs scored, a stolen base, a 319 average, and a great 4.41 on base percentage. So right now, Rooker batting prime time in this lineup here for this Oakland Athletic team. And he's definitely putting up monster numbers in the early going. Ranked 10th in category leagues on the season. May 4th versus Seattle, 1 for 4. May 5th at the Royals, 3 for 5 for a homer, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. May 6th at the Royals, 1 for 4 with an RBI. May 7th at the Royals, 0 for 3, a run and a stolen base. May 8th at the Yankees, 1 for 3 with a run. And May 9th at the New York Yankees in that one, 1 for 5 in that ball game. So right now, Brent Rooker going out there, showing power. And he's been one of the best pickups, if not the best pickup so far in the first month and a half of the season here is Brent Rooker for fantasy owners. But right now, well, he's playing good ball, and he's another guy that I think will get exposed a little bit as the season goes on, is Rooker, where he don't have a great track record in the minor leagues of keeping up these numbers. He's definitely a sell-high hitter this week. I think a decent starter in a deal, or even for another bat who's struggling and off to a slow start, you can maybe make it that type of deal with Rooker this week. The next hitter is Thairo Estrada of the San Francisco Giants. So Estrada off to a monster start in the early going here. And a few seasons ago, he bounced around the league with the Yankees, and then the Giants got him. And this is where he's really taken off. And so far this season, 6 home runs, 14 RBIs, 9 stolen bases, 23 runs scored, and an awesome 344 batting average. and a 394 on base, so I don't think these numbers are holding up. The last 2 weeks, especially a 396 average with 2 homers, 7 RBIs, 6 runs scored, 4 stolen bases, a 442 on base percentage. So right now, playing great baseball. We know this Giant team, their offense isn't that great, but Estrada has definitely been a catalyst for this team here. Batting second in the lineup, and his versatility as well even brings more value to get more in a trade for him. If you're going to sell him this week, second short in outfield, he qualifies is Estrada. So the last few games for Estrada, May 2nd at Houston, 2 for 3 with a run. May 3rd at Houston, 1 for 3. May 5th at versus the Brewers, 1 for 4, a run on RBI. May 6th versus the Brewers, 1 for 4, a homer, 2 RBIs. May 7th versus the Brewers, 3 for 5, a homer in that one. May 8th versus the Nats, 1 for 4. So right now, playing great baseball, showing pop as well is Estrada, where last season he did hit 14 home runs, but already this year he's got 6, so we'll see if the power continues for him. But I don't think the batting average will. Stolen bases, he's definitely a legit 25-30 stolen base player is Estrada, but the batting average and on-base percentage is way up there compared to his career numbers. So right now, while he's off to a roaring start, he's a perfect sell-high candidate this week in the 5th and final hitter. I look to sell high and trade this week's Anthony Rendon of the Los Angeles Angels. So Rendon, he's off to a great start this season. 1 home run, 19 RBIs, 17 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a 295 average, and a 430 on base. So obviously the home runs are a disappointment, but everything else pretty solid for Anthony Rendon. We know he was always had a good eye at the plate, even in the last couple seasons where he struggled. But the thing with him is injuries. The last few years with this Angel team, he's been a bust, and injuries have played a major factor as well. In the last 2 weeks, he's smoking hot. A homer, 8 RBIs, 10 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a 378 batting average, and a 540 on base. So he's getting on base more than half the time over the last 2 weeks here is Anthony Rendon. So right now, while he's playing good baseball and he's healthy, he's still not a player I trust, and I would sell him high this week for sure. May 3rd at the Cardinals, 1 for 4 in RBI. May 4th at the Cardinals, 2 for 3 with 2 runs. May 5th versus the Rangers, 2 for 4. May 7th versus the Rangers, 2 for 3 with a grand slam in that one. May 8th versus Houston, 1 for 2 with a run and a rib. So Rendon, he's going out there. He's getting on base, it seems like, at least 2 times per ball game over the last few weeks here. Right now, where everything looks great with Rendon, he's a perfect sell-high candidate because I don't think he's going to get back to what he was doing with the Washington Nationals 4 or 5 seasons ago, where he was a top hitter in the National League and a batting champ as well. So right now, what Rendon looks like, he's on track this season so far. I would sell him high just going off past track record the last few seasons with the Angels. That's a few hitters I look to sell and trade in week 6 of the fantasy baseball season.